This is going to be a more long form format way of showing how exactly you're supposed to defeat the Reaper. Now, if you're a fan of the cut to the chase how-to guides that I do for this channel, don't worry, that's still on its way, and this is going to be a much more legitimate way of defeating the Reaper. Now, if you don't quite know what I'm talking about, the most recent update to Vampire Survivors added a new upgrade for Laurel and Clock Lancet. Now, these are things that you have to unlock in a secret level, and I will also be putting out a guide to that as well. But if you don't know what it is, I'll show a clip of it really quick. This is the level that you unlock by fighting this stage here. Once you've fought this stage and gotten past the 15-minute mark with a normal character, you will then unlock this new hidden stage. Now, the way that I defeated this stage was simply by taking the first character that you unlock. He seems to be the easiest character to get through this stage. The gimmick with this stage is you start at level 1 and do not level up. So you're stuck with your base level 1 stats, your level 1 weapon, and it takes away a few other passives that you've upgraded through power-ups. So that's why this character is probably going to be the easiest one to defeat this stage with if you're having trouble defeating this hidden stage. Now, what I do is I take the whip and just run along all of the candelabra doors, or whatever they are. The reason I'm doing this is because you want to pick up all of the chickens that can be available to you. So if you have your luck upgraded, then that's going to help you out a lot. Essentially, the run through this stage is pretty simple all the way up until this point in the stage. What happens here is it's going to send a lot of the explosive characters at you, and really, as long as you're moving upwards, it's going to be a lot easier to dodge all of these explosive characters. But you will find that you're going to take quite a bit of damage, and this little stage here where you come around the corner is going to be a little luck dependent whether or not you'll make it through, because if you take too much damage, obviously you're going to die. But what we're really depending on luck for is if we get more chickens, because if we pick up just a couple of chickens, we can take a couple of hits from these explosive characters and make it through just fine. After that, it'll very quickly turn into just a don't stand still. If you keep moving forward, you're bound to make it to the end of the stage. And then you'll pick up the rosary and delete everything on the screen, making it very easy for you to get to the end of the stage. And you'll see that you've succeeded once the, I suppose, Keeper of Time Reaper shows up. I'm not really certain what this character is, but he definitely looks menacing and is probably going to be a part of the next update. So then you'll just move through to the right through the wall. Actually, it's a false wall, and you will pick up this item here. Now, you're going to want to pick it up pretty quick, because if you spend too much time here, it will just simply kill you. So if you don't pick it up, you will not be unlocking the hidden items. Now, the upgrades to the Laurel and Clock Lancet are hidden items, but now that you've defeated this stage, you can actually upgrade Clock Lancet and Laurel. Now, the big reason that we need Clock Lancet and Laurel upgraded is because of their new upgraded passives. Laurel caps all damage at 10, no matter what. So when the Reaper comes flying in at you, doing some several thousand health points of damage, it's only going to do 10 damage. So it's even better than a nearly infinite cooldown Laurel, honestly. Once you've upgraded that, you should be just fine to run around with the Reapers. And then the big one here that's going to do all of our damage is actually Clock Lancet. So it goes from doing 0 damage to actually halving everybody's HP. So every time that the Reaper becomes unfrozen and you hit it with the Clock Lancet, you will be doing half of its current HP. So you'll see later at the end of this run how it turns out that you've done several 100 million damage with just Clock Lancet. You know, the item that does 0 damage? Yeah. I am pretty excited that they made this a guaranteed way of picking up the Reaper instead of having to do a gimmicky way that I've done a couple of tutorials on. Now, obviously, if you don't want to do it this way, which is a much more involved way, I do have a couple of tutorials in the slightly more gimmicky, cheesy ways, but still not really cheating. Okay, now that we are more than a minute or so into the run, you will see that I picked up a couple of different things for this character specifically. Now that you have Laurel and Clock Lancet upgrade options, you can do this with any character on just about any stage, really. This is just the method that I use to defeat the Reaper. So, as usual, we will be starting on the Inlaid Library, but this time I will be taking this character. I can't remember his name. He is going to give us way more curse, but that's okay. It is just going to make it a little bit more difficult. Now, the reason I'm taking all of this curse is because we are going to go on a hurry mode. So what that's going to do is it's going to take this 30-minute stage and turn it into a 15-minute stage. Super easy to play. Makes it way less of a time investment, really. So I am taking this, and yes, you will probably run into a couple of times where you just fail. So it might be easier for you to do the full 30 minutes, but I just wanted to show that it was possible to do this in a hurry stage. We take all of the curse and a character that gives us even more curse. So you're going to see that we are going to die a lot. That's why I took the extra revivals at the start, so we get more powerful and can mess up a few times, which I do. This is just going to show that it is possible to do it even by messing up a few times. Now, the items that we're going for, obviously we start with the axe on this character, which is pretty decent, especially once we get it upgraded. It's going to do quite a bit of damage, and it will synergize with our other arcanas that we're going to pick up. I also pick up Gatiamari, the cats. They do quite a bit of damage. It's very nice to have them. And then obviously the must-have part of this build is going to be Clock Lancet and Laurel. No matter what, you have to pick these items up. Otherwise, there's no point. And then I believe I also go for knives. And then what is my... Now I remember what I go for. I'm going to end up going for cross. It just hasn't shown up yet. So we've got all of our passive items picked up already. So I pick up the bracers, spinach, Lucky Charms, clover, I mean. And then I also pick up crown because I want to be absolutely certain that we hit the maximum upgrade everything level before the end of this run. Again, because we're on hurry mode, you get a lot less experience with this because of how quickly things tick by. You don't really notice how low experience you get until you've tried to hit maximum level. So that's why we're going to pick up crown. It is, again, optional if you are not doing this in hurry mode. If you aren't doing this in hurry mode, don't bother with crown. You'll get to the max level, no problem. I might even throw in, honestly, I don't really know too much else what I would throw in here. Maybe I throw in speed. Yeah, I'd probably throw in speed, wings, just to get through it a little bit faster. And then obviously we picked up Candelabra Door to upgrade the axe and Duplicator to give us just a couple of extra projectiles to do some extra damage. It's pretty nice, pretty handy. I also probably would have picked up, what else would I have picked up? A Tract Orb. I probably would have picked up a Tract Orb. It's not going to give us a whole lot of damage. It's not going to give us any damage, but it will help us pick up a lot more of these experience gems I'm just leaving on the floor. That can help attribute to getting you to the max level. So maybe if I didn't take crown and instead took the experience orb, I would have just picked up all of the experience I'm leaving on the floor. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the main build that we're going for. The main trouble that you're going to run into by doing it in hurry mode, obviously, with all of this extra curse is they're going to be faster than you. A lot of the enemies are going to be faster than you. And obviously, they do a lot of damage if they all catch up to you. So there's just going to be so many more on screen. So what I'm going to try to do, what I've been trying to do, is kind of staying near the center and slowly moving to the left of the screen. What I'm trying to do is get enough experience to where I get to a point that I can just walk through everybody and not have to worry about any damage. You will see for most of the first half of this run, I'm going to be basically on the edge of death for a very large portion of this, just because I already threw away most of my revives. Did I throw away all of my revives? Yes. By this point, I've already lost all of my revives. So we're in a bit of a tricky situation where if I die, the run's over. Obviously, because you can see this run and the clip, it's probably not going to go that way. Or I just throw an extra little clip at the end to show you. I did have another run where I failed to get the full upgrades, and because I was just so far into the run, I had Laurel and Clock Lancet, I was able to actually run all the way to another chest to upgrade it, and somehow salvage that run at 34 minutes without actually dying. So that was really nice. It kind of shows that you can keep messing up and still, this is a very simple way of doing things. Let's see, where else am I going? So I think for the most part, I spend a lot of time looking for cross, and there it is. As I was trying to remember it, there it is. So now we've got cross, we've got our full weapon build, and we've got our full passive build. So eventually, once I've gotten strong enough, I can move all the way to the side and pick up that extra empty tome. So that's why that's not part of the build on this map specifically, because it is an extra item on the floor. You will also see that I am going to be dodging back and forth between the Gatiamari cat fights. I'm doing this because in the area that they are fighting, they do a lot of extra damage and will very frequently save me from death. I've got a couple of times where you can't even see a red health bar. It happens way too frequently, but because of the Gatiamari cat fight, I can actually back up and be relatively safe. So once our next Arcana comes in, I think I'm going to pick up the Bouncing Arcana, just because the crit would be nice, but I think the bouncing will help out our knives a lot, and it helps the knives bounce between everybody. It will also help our axes and give us more damage there, and of course the crosses will bounce back and forth. So it synergizes really, really well to be picking up I think it's the blue Arcana that will give all of these 3 items bouncing ability. So it lets the knives bounce back and forth, bounce around between enemies, so that way even if you're walking in a straight line, you will actually do quite a bit of damage to everything on screen. Now, I am finally, I think the second item that I pick up, the second upgraded item that I pick up is going to be the knife, which comes in very, very handy, because at this point I've been spending a lot of time on practically no health. But now that I've got I hope that I match up this audio well. I'm going to have to do a little bit of editing work to get that figured out. But once I get the upgraded knives, I will then be able to just basically walk forward. The only thing that I really have to worry about is I'm not going to be picking up a whole lot of experience. So this is where I leave a lot of experience on the floor. That could probably be a good reason to pick up the Attract Orb over the Crown, just to make it a lot easier. But now that I have the fully upgraded knives, I will probably start walking to the left soon. Essentially, I want to have both of the secret floor items picked up by probably the 15-minute mark. That's probably about when I want to have them picked up, but I'm probably going to pick them up around 18 minutes. So you've got a pretty good window for when you can pick these up. So as soon as I start, yeah, I did realize at this point that I can just move to the side. I've got enough damage coming out and the enemies aren't super strong. This is why we had to pick up the knives. Ooh, that wasn't good. My voice decided to just go away. That was fun. So I am also going to pick up pretty much all of these chests because they are on the left side of the map. I'm not going to be able to really pick up any of them once I move all the way to the right side. So I could leave them for potential upgrades to my items, but I'm just going to pick them up now, and hopefully, well, I'm hoping that they give me enough extra levels to some of my items to give me that extra damage, because right now this is fine. I'm doing good damage, but once those witches start coming onto screen, they have a lot more health and it's a lot harder to clear them. So I need to also make sure that I am keeping up in my levels. So you will see each one of these secret items is guarded by a caped figure. The caped figures you can kill. You are capable of killing them, and you have to upgrade their items all the way to level 9 to be able to upgrade your Lancet and Laurel. So the arrows will upgrade your Laurel, and the rings will upgrade your Clock Lancet. So at this point, I've pretty much got everything max upgrade level that I need it to. So I'm totally free to run around and just pick up anything that I need to. But pretty much at this point, hey, it's almost, I was pretty close in my estimate of when I picked this up. The 16-minute mark, kind of close. I really thought that would be more around 18 minutes, so not too bad. So I'm not even going to bother trying to fight these caped figures, because if I spend too much time on them right now, I don't feel like I have enough damage to knock them out very quickly. So I'm going to immediately start moving to the right. So this is good timing once you're, I'd say if you're moving to the right around 16, maybe even 17-minute mark, you're probably clear, totally fine during this. Maybe, honestly, you could probably even do it in the 20-minute mark if you are not doing it in hurry mode. Hurry mode's a little questionable. This is why I would also say maybe pick up wings. Consider picking up wings. It could be very helpful to get from one side to the other. So yeah, once again, just gonna keep running to the side, totally avoiding the cape figures because I need to get the other two items and fully max them out. So it's a race against the clock, against my levels, against pretty much getting... The reason that's a race against the clock is because I need to get over there and have the upgrade chests available to me, so that way I can actually upgrade Lancet and Laurel, because if there are no chests on the ground, you cannot upgrade these items. I mean, you've probably played a little bit of Vampire Survivors by this point, so you know this. So what I'm doing here is moving up and down, I'm trying really hard to get another one of those attract orbs. I don't know, magnet. I'm trying to get another magnet, so that way I can pick up all the experience that I have left on the ground. but it just doesn't show up at any point. I think maybe I get another one to show up near the end of the run, but I guess this is just another testament to this is the point in which you can still make it, even if you aren't picking up every bit of experience. So it looks like I was able to defeat the cave figures without before even making it to the very far end. So once you defeat the cave figures of any stage, they show up on the water stage, but on this one as well, any stage that you pick up their items, they're going to chase you. If you defeat them, they're going to drop a golden egg for you. Now, this is the same golden egg as the merchant that you can buy from him on the pool stage. I guess it's a pool. I don't know. It's an infinite pool. Essentially, what you're... oh, look at that. When you defeat them and you pick up the egg, it's going to give you that infinite upgrade. That permanent upgrade, not infinite. It is going to be a very small upgrade. It takes a lot of upgrading to actually get your character to be fully maxed out or whatever you need. But this is a free way of getting a couple of extra levels per stage. So every time you defeat one of those cave figures, they will drop an egg. Be sure to pick it up. It helps out a lot. So what I'm doing now, after the 20-minute mark, I kind of avoid picking up any of the chests because I'm not too certain how many chests I'm going to need to actually upgrade my Clock Lancet and Laurel. So I want to be sure that I have those items on the floor, those options on the floor for me. Now, there is also, obviously I picked up Gaudi Amari, that there is a coin mask on the inlaid library that can upgrade Gaudi Amari into the Evil Eye or Cat Eye. I don't remember all the names. I just know how to do some of these things. So basically, I could have picked that up to give me the other upgrade option, but a couple of things. I was worried that if I upgraded Gaudi Amari, I would not get enough experience to make it, and I was also worried that I would not that my chests would not upgrade Laurel or Clock Lancet like I needed to. So I just left it on the floor for now. I do think later on in the run I do end up picking it up, but once again, you need to have these passive items fully maxed out. So what I'm doing here is I'm testing to see if it will give me the upgrade. It does not give me an upgrade because you need to have the passive items for Laurel and Clock Lancet fully maxed out. So now that I've got the 2 arrows and the 2 rings, I can run back, try to max out my levels. There is a point, I think I end up just picking up a red gem or something. But pretty much now that I've got it, I'm going to go camp out one of the chests nearby and try to just max out all of my items. It is a long ways to go to get those maxed out, but I'm fairly confident that I will be able to, just because now I've got all of my base weapons upgraded and we do so much damage that we just totally knocked out the capes super quick and easy. I don't actually know the names of those enemies. Let me know in the comments if you know the names or if you have any funny suggestions for the names. Maybe we'll just have that as an inside joke. Who knows? So yeah, now that I am here, 24, nearly 25-minute mark, I am just going to be generating so much experience that I should be totally fine to max out over level 100 easily on this character. Yeah, we are pretty close. So once I think I max out the arrows first. Once I max out the arrows, then I am able to upgrade. It's going to upgrade the Laurel. I'll keep repeating it so that way it doesn't get missed. And I actually almost picked up the chest early. So if you missed it, these passive items actually have 9 upgrades. So something that maybe you... Oh, here we go. Here is the upgraded Laurel, the Crimson Shroud. Now, I think I said this earlier, but it maxes out any damage that you can take to just 10 HP. So anything that would have done more than that, so for example, the Reaper that does several thousand damage, that is just going to be 10. It's just 10 damage. The Reaper can't touch you. Obviously, before, if you were running super low cooldown Lancet and Laurel, you would stay invincible for quite a while. But now you really just take almost no damage. And with our passive healing, we get a lot of extra health back. And I think this is the point where I must have picked up a red gem or something. Or I just bugged out the game, because I gain like 20 plus levels here and just max out everything. So now we can go and upgrade Clock Lancet. And what does it upgrade into? It upgrades into Infinite Corridor. So pretty much, I said this earlier, it does half of the enemy's HP in one hit. Current HP, not max HP. Obviously, it'd be a 2-hit if it was doing that. And I believe it only works when they are unfrozen. So later on in the run, I will try and spin around the Reaper to try and just hit them 1,000 times. It only works when they are unfrozen. So I also did not take any spell duration, although I think it's one of the arrows that gives extra spell duration, or one of the rings, I don't know. But the rings and arrows, I was saying this earlier, the rings and arrows, the left ones, so the silver ring and the left pointing arrow, those are positive effects. So they will, ooh, there goes my voice. So they, oh, and then here for my final Arcana I'm going to pick up crit, so that way I do even more damage. Now, since our Lancet is doing all of our damage to the Reaper, it's not that important, but I just wanted to see some big numbers at the end screen. So we are approaching the 28-29 minute mark. So if we were worried about not getting enough levels before, this is usually where I make a lot of catch up in that area, just because once you hit the 28-29 minute mark, a lot of red gems start dropping. So this is where actually my previous attempt that almost failed ended up turning around completely and giving me all of the levels that I needed. So that was super, super helpful. And I'm just kind of running around now. Yeah, I did end up picking up the coin mask, so I am able to upgrade the Gaudia Mari. That comes out to quite a bit of extra damage. I think I still show the damage numbers at the end screen, so you will be seeing that. And just seeing exactly what ridiculous numbers that puts out. I am very glad that they added some upgrades to Laurel and Lancet. I didn't really expect them to be these kinds of upgrades. I'm very happy to see them. I was expecting Laurel to be some sort of infinite damage or infinite invulnerability or something. I really like this, though, that you still take some sort of damage, but not a whole lot. So yeah, you'll see that I am just doing circles around the Reaper, trying to see if it will do damage to it while it's frozen. Spoiler, it does not. You have to, it only ticks when they are unfrozen. So what you'll want to do here is keep track of which Reaper you're attacking. Honestly, it isn't going to be that big of a deal. It just kind of changes how quickly you can do this in. Again, because Lancet does so much damage, you should be totally fine to just kind of mess around, really. I think this run takes me about 32-33 minutes. And then I sit here with the knives just to try and do a little bit of extra damage. It's not really worth it, but you can just stand still. You don't really need to worry about it. But if you do find that the Reapers are bouncing around too much and you can't freeze them, try running in the opposite direction of your Lancet. So, well, it's not Lancet, but I'm going to keep calling it Lancet because that's the one that I know. So you'll see, boom, 32-minute mark, we have defeated it, and you pick up a bunch of extra golden eggs. So now that we have defeated the Reapers, you're going to see that we're going to start to zoom in, really zoom in for intense effect on our character. And then you're going to see one new Reaper pop up. And let me tell you, this guy, you cannot hurt him. You can't do any damage to him. He is completely invulnerable. And even though we have the item that gives us max damage at 10 to ourselves, he doesn't care. He just slash kills you. Like, no problem. No revives, nothing. Does not matter. So the White Reaper is now the white whale of killing them. So now you can see, boom, Infinite Corridor, upgraded Lancet, 208 million. Over 1 million damage a second. Leave a comment letting me know if it helped you out or if you have a different build suggestion. Always helps me out. I keep continuing to work on these. So thank you all so much for hanging out. I hope to see you in the next video. And I'll have a much more short to the point cut up video.